Van Gravero then went down to Curacao for the CQ Worldwide Contest, which was the last weekend in October, using a contest station which has been under construction for the last 10 years. It's called PJ2T is the call sign of the station. And this fellow Jeff, who actually lives in Idaho, has been through a group of, it's structured with a bunch of members who belong to it and pay dues, and then when we go down there, you share expenses for the thing. I'll just tell you a little bit about Curacao. Curacao is a fairly large island, right 40 miles north of Venezuela. So one day it got very clear and we could actually see Venezuela from Curacao, which is rare because it's usually too much mist. And so we show up there at the airport, 3 of us, and we're going to operate, by the way, with 8 operators altogether. But we show up at the airport, and comes a pickup truck, and there's a room for us to sit in the truck, but it was raining, and we had to put our luggage in the back. That was great. That's a good start to it. But Curacao was originally is still a Dutch protectorate, but it's an independent island now. It's about 170 square miles. It's quite large. It's elongated, but and quite large, with 140,000 people. It's probably the most. It's got the highest income per capita of any island in the Caribbean at 20,000 per head, which is very high for that area. Although there are signs of poverty in the outlying areas, as always is in these islands. But so we go up there, we get to the house, and they had one house where all the stations are. There's 4 operating stations and 16 antennas, and we show up there, and 5 of us stayed in the house, and they rented another house for the other operators to stay in. But the temperature there varies between 88 in the daytime and 78 at night, and the wind blows from 15 to 20 out of the east all the time. That's one of the problems. It's salt air, and the antennas have there's 2 Yagis on 20 meters facing, one facing Europe, one facing the United States. A 15-meter antenna Yagi, one facing Europe, one facing the United States, V-beams and this and that, and beverages, and 16 antennas in all. And we got there on a Monday, and had to spend the week prior to the contest trying to get everything working, which we didn't quite succeed at. We found out. But we had to take down one of the Yagis. It was way up about 55 feet, and it weighed 220 pounds, and it had to come down. So we had to rig a wire to the roof and slide the antenna down this wire while the repairs were done. But Curacao is an interesting place. Jeff, who owns the house and everything, has been working on it. The station has 3 FT2000 radios and a FT1000 Mark V, and the switching arrangement is like baffling. I mean, throw this switch, so one guy can be transmitting here. And if you throw the wrong switch, you can transmit into the other guy's radio. That's really great. So, you don't understand the switches yet? Well, no, there's like 1,400 switches here. What's going on? But so Curacao is it's an interesting place, though. The water is absolutely beautiful, and everybody's been to a pet store and seen iguanas. You know, You've seen iguanas? They're about that's big, right? Well, iguanas down there are this big. These are iguanas on steroids, right? And the island is it's very dry, so there's no rain for 9 months. Very little rain for 9 months of the year. We got there in the rainy season where all the mosquitoes were multiplying like incredibly crazy, and they loved me. So I got bit up. I had 500 bites, I think, and so it's a very nice place. It's a vacation island for the Europeans and the Dutch, especially. There's a 747 that comes in from Amsterdam every day with the tourists, 500 or 600 tourists on it every day. Is that a picture of them?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Look at them.
So what they have on just a few more notes about the island.
Are they gentle?
You don't pet them.
No, we fed them. That's why they kept away. We were sitting outside eating. No. But the island they bring in oil from Venezuela to refine this monster refinery with these huge stacks and spewing out smoke all over the place. And then they take the refined oil and ship it out to wherever it's being purchased. But and the other thing is there's no water. There's no wells or anything. No water on the island basically. So they have this giant desalination plant. What they actually also use it to use the steam to generate electricity. So, but the rates it costs, the rates for the water and electricity, even though you try to conserve, it costs $800 a month to run this house, just to pay the water and the electric bill. So we tried not to. We didn't run the air conditioning except for the 2 days of the contest in the house. It's so expensive. So except for the one privilege room, they did run theirs, right? But so just a few words about the contest. The contest runs 48 hours. From between Friday night at 8 o'clock to Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And we had 4 stations, so we operated 4 stations most of the time when we could. We found out we had 3 antennas that weren't working, which was exciting. We could have done a lot better. He basically did no contacts on 160 meters. Basically, Dan was so frustrated, it was unbelievable. And
That's what I do all the time at 160.
but,
Make no contact.
right, but what happens down there is that you're down there, you have a saltwater takeoff, you have very good antennas, you're running 1,500 watts. And
One kW.
Well, we were running 1,500 in reality. We're supposed to, like, the limit.
1 kWDC.
No, that 1 kW is a limit down there. But we could also operate in the international bands. We could operate below 14.2, 14.1,
That's
15,
nice.
all
Oh,
that.
yeah, that's like,
And we could operate those. So, well, what happened is you get on there during the contest and you call CQ, and that would be the last time you have to say CQ, and you get this monster pileup to Japan, for instance, right? And there's, by the way, there's in Japan there's 1.2 million operators in Japan versus 700,000 here. It's very popular.
2 that speak English.
They speak 4 sentences. That's enough. But Europe is also very popular too. But with these monster pileups, I'll let Adam say what he wants to say. Instead of running high power like we did all the time, we should have reduced the power down just to work the guys with the good antennas, and then increased it slowly to try to reduce the pileup. But it was so big, it's hard to pick out a station, you know. But we were able to do on the last evening. I remember between 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 8 o'clock when the contest was over. We were doing between 450 500 QSOs an hour in the last 4 hours.
Were you running
about
by-
150
Were you running them by number or call, or just trying to listen?
Huh?
Were you just running them by number or
No, just
call?
trying to
or
listen.
just
We didn't go by the numbers.
No?
No, they said not to do it, so this is what they did. What they said. So I think we said Papa Japan 2 Tango 10 billion times, right? But the final thing is we were able to do 12,800 QSOs in the 48-hour period. And given 3 antennas weren't working, we had one guy who was basically, he was a very nice old gentleman who really couldn't operate. So there was 7 of us. But the guy who owned the house, Jeff, who was a really great operator, he didn't operate either. So I left 6 of us to do that. And but given the fact that we didn't have everything wasn't perfect, we did pretty well. So, and I
just
think,
a quick question for you.
yeah,
There is another contest station down there. Do you hear them?
as,
I think it's Papa Juliet or Papa.
Curacao?
Yeah,
No, it's on Bon Air. It's on one of
Oh,
the
it's
other
Bon Air
islands.
up here. Okay.
There's 3 islands down there. There's,
Gotcha.
there's
All right.
Curacao, Bon Air, and I think Aruba.
4.
What's the other one?
PJ5, PJ4,
Right,
PJ2.
and they also have
And-
call signs that are close to ours, which is a little bit annoying,
PJ7.
but the way they operate with the licensing down there, they only allow the PJ2, Papa Japan 2 Tango call sign to be used only during a contest. They're trying to change that, but it's only. But then when you're down there, you got to say Papa Japan 2 stroke
Right.
Whiskey 1 Bravo Victor.
Right, that's how I picked you up.
before the contest
First
starts.
day.
Right. So that's why I got all this QSO. But I'll let you say a few words there.
Okay.
Adam was unbelievable. Let me just say one thing. Adam was the most enthusiastic person I've ever seen about being down
Adam
there.
is
He was in 7th heaven. Tell him what you did before the contest started. It was unbelievable.
So that was my first trip actually to Caribbean. So we went by the end of October for 1 week, like Gus mentioned, and I was a little shocked with my first impression about the island because the island was so poor and never been in Caribbean, so I was a little shocked by those metal you know,
Little adobe houses,
yeah, in the metal, you know,
no windows.
bars, you know, on the windows and all that. So kind of shocked me, you know. I was like, you know, realized, you know, we're in a very, you know, poor, you know, place. But anyway, so the station, it's really unbelievable. I did operate W1AW twice, so I ran a pile-up, and I'm struggling with the wire antenna. So being at that, you know, station was kind of good, you know, experience and a privilege for me. And so before the contest, I operate the, you know, the station. So when I first time, you know, called CQ, the 100 station tried to call me at the same time. I was like, you know, in the Haven. It's like, you know, I was really shocked. Like for the first minute, I was really shocked. Then I realized I gotta work them all.
Well, you heard me. All I can tell you is every UA digit was calling you at the same time. In other words, UA 1 through 9 was what I was hearing in the background. It's like the entire Soviet Union had you in their sights.
And so, you know, I managed to work about exactly 2,337 QSOs.
Before the contest started.
Before the contest started. And
I made my entire
actually, I did operate 3 days. I actually operate 3 days because the Friday was...
And what'd you get for it?
Yeah. So I operate, you know, on a different, you know, bands. And really interesting part was I was getting a station from the same time. I can work a station from east and from west. It was really, really unbelievable. 10 meters was wide open, and the pile-up was unbelievable. I tried to work by the numbers. I tried to work on a split frequency, and then I was on a split frequency, and I have to still work by the numbers. So which was really unbelievable. The most, you know, workstation was my friend actually, so I had a few sketches with him.
You know,
So
he was talking in Polish, right, a lot of the time.
Yes,
right?
yes.
European.
So you know, a lot of people from Poland got the opportunity to work me because, you know, when I heard, you know, Polish.
That's
station,
why you ignored me?
I respond in Polish, but the funny part, all the station from Russia, you know, trying to get a hold of me in Polish, station from Czech Republic, Slovak Republic, everybody, you know, trying to, you know, get that, you know, opportunity. So sometimes I missed the food. I mean, you know, they were calling me for the food, but, you know, I
You
had
didn't
a
miss the beer though.
I just have to
Was
work.
10 meters mostly U.S. operators? Was that what it was? Is the pileup from the United States? Was
No,
mostly
no,
from the
no,
U.S.?
worldwide.
Was it worldwide?
Yeah.
Europe,
Okay.
Europe, yes. And at one time, 17 meters open, really good to Japan, one evening.
Before the contest. of
I
course.
had tremendous pile-up from Japan. I mean, they beat even, you know, US stations because the antenna was pointed towards US and Japan, and on 17 meters, the station from Japan, they were coming so strong, and I work one after another and another. So the rate was like I was working 2 stations per minute, 3 stations per minute, and once in a while I work 4 stations per minute.
Were you mainly using the wire antennas for this, or were they beams?
That was a five mostly was, they were 5 elements, you know.
Yeah, all the beams were fixed. They don't use rotators or anything like that. They fix one to Europe, one to United States, and that type of thing. And they had other wire antennas too, and beverages too, by the way. But,
Yeah.
And each one feeds in.
Now, you were
separately,
using
so you get,
1,000 watts with the
directivity
other,
out of it.
with the
You
other
get gain in
side
one
of
direction
the,
and eliminate from the
also
back.
using high
Right.
power? Could you tell?
I am not, you know, sure, but I work, you know, a strong station and a weak station, and the noise level actually was really low. You can pick the weakest station in the world. Easy.
What's the logging system there, PJ?
It's
they use right log.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Right.
it's a right.
The one other thing, one of the antennas, there's a ridge. We went up about 200 or 300 feet facing towards
Heard
Europe
that story. I
from
was
that.
in